All right, everyone. This question keeps coming up in many of the Facebook groups, and people are asking which type would be the people protesting here? And I thought this would be pretty obvious what the answer would be, but not everyone is as well versed. And this, so let's go over what types would be protesting against lockdown the most. Uh, this type would definitely fall under the temperament of the SPs. The SPs are, what are they? They are pragmatic, interest-based, artisan, freedom-loving artisans, okay? They need to have freedom to express themselves in a physical manner. So who would most suffer the most of being confined indoors, stuck around a bunch of people and not able to do what they want to do? Okay, this would always obviously be the SPs. Now, which SPs are the ones here at this protest more likely? The leadership would obviously be the structure type, the ESTPs. You could even see people in the JW community, ex-JW community, like DASIS is saying, hey, we need to get people in this area ready for a protest. This has gone too far. DASIS, which I've covered before in the past, is an ESTP, okay? Despite his belief that he's an introvert, he is not an introvert one bit. But that's a different subject. Why does this piss off people like him or Vinny Vin, for instance, another ESTP XJW? Well, remember, you got to go over their inferior functions, what they are afraid of. They are afraid they won't be able to do what they want. Okay, they are afraid of being trapped, being stuck in. This is pretty much why prisons were kind of invented, because if you look at the legal systems and who gets arrested, generally speaking, they're 80% SPs, I would say. And I do a lot of work at courts. Due to the fact my boyfriend's a lawyer, I'm down there quite often, typing people nonstop, and it's essentially SJs dominating SPs all day long in the courthouse. And then the second place is SJs, believe it or not, and then NTs and NFs are in prison. Some reason people think that the people who are protesting down here are all NFs. NFs don't really protest this way. They don't get physical. Okay, NFs for the most part aren't violent people, and they don't get aggressive. They don't have that high SE. You can argue ENFJs, led by people like Martin Luther King Jr., who was pretty physical in being with the marches and getting the people rallied up and getting everyone together. He is an ENFJ or an INFJ, depending on how you look at it. He seems like an extrovert to me when you watch his interviews. Many people call him an INFJ. I don't agree with that. I think he's an ENFJ. That being said, a lot of people think that NFs are the ones out here rallying up and attacking people like Antifa. Now, Antifa is probably ran by a bunch of ESFPs who've been, brainwashed that, that they're being attacked by fascists. Well, fascists, what they call are actually themselves, because they act just like browncoats. That being said, I'm not making this video to diss this. I actually had interest in this myself, but I'm an NT and I don't really handle my issues with physicality because ENTPs are pretty secret, hidden, called rogues for a reason. Debaters, we argue with our mouth, with our minds. We don't get into confrontations and need to be physically down there to change this kind of stuff. And so you also have other people such as Jimmy Bell or William White. These guys are both ESFPs. They're all over the XJW Facebook community as well. But these guys are the same way, and they're going to be down there too, and they're protesting, but they're more informative, okay? And so you're going to see them with their long-winded posts over and over again about, hey, this is why this is happening. Hey, he always calls them these left-wingers, which, I mean, the right wing is being just as docile and submissive. So I don't understand where that comes from. But again, you're seeing the TE label with that. These people are this, these left wingers or things like that. And so this is what with the thing is kind of come up. You have SPs are the ones who are doing the physical confrontation. I mean, look at these signs. Free me, live free or die. Recall Whitmer. Okay. these guys were like, was like 99% male. I mean, what are men usually? SPs, let's just be honest about that. I mean, when I type people I'm meeting on new, I automatically assume the man I meet is an SP until proven otherwise, and I automatically assume a woman is an SJ until proven otherwise. Granted, there's tons of female SPs out there. There are, but in the SP all on a whole, they're a minority. I'm getting distracted here on this kind of thing. So what are they trying to do? Remember, SPs are in the moment. They're high SC. So it's about what's going on right now. They're not necessarily looking at what the future is, because what is their lowest function is NE, what will happen. And so when you piss them off by, not allowing them to have the freedom to do what they want to do, to run their business, to feed their families, to go outside, to go get physical and exercise and activities and go socialize with their friends in the bars and with restaurants and things like that. These are all SE activities. So you just look at people, places like sports bars and things like that, where men gather and watch sports together. Who goes to sports activities? Who goes to stadiums to watch football and basketball and baseball? Men, okay? They love that SE group experience, and you're taking that away from them right now, okay? They also can't go meet women. They can't go, meet men. They can't do what they want to do. If they have their own business, they aren't able to do that, okay? And so their freedom is restricted, and so this is really making them angry. And so when you make an SP angry, especially ESTP and an ESFP, you're going to release any demon. And so that means if I can't get what I want, nobody's getting what they want, and their futures are ruined until I get what I want. This is why you see them blocking traffic of nurses trying to go to the hospitals, because, hey, my future is ruined. So is this. So is people in the hospitals. Everyone's future is ruined until this is fixed, because I'm not going to wait for the future. I need this to be changed right now. Okay, and then they're going to be in a group dynamic, a group experience. Hey, remember, bro, that protest we did in 2020 fighting coronavirus? Okay, this is all SE. This is all what SEs think. This is how they want in a group dynamic. Let's get all the friends together and let's all go and change the world in this way. And we got to go down there physically. We got to make sure we show that we're men. We have the power. We have guns. We have all this kind of stuff. And we're serious about this. This is the way they think. Now, how do the other types deal with this kind of situation? When the SJs, for the most part, remember, SJs have high SI, which is linked to faith. Now, SJs have faith in a lot of different things. I have SJs who are highly religious. I have SJ friends who are atheists. I have SJ friends, very academic. They can just vary, whatever they put their faith in. I have SJ friends that say, well, Christ will take care of this, and I have my faith in Jesus. And so during this virus and pandemic, I'm okay because Jehovah or Jesus, whatever, is going to be my sanctuary, my safety. Okay. Then you have like the Atheist Experience talk show. Those guys are mostly SJs too. What did they have their faith in? They have their faith in science. They have their faith in academics. They have faith in the experts, eventually finding the answers to their questions, so they no longer need God. Okay. And so the SJs are going to vary depending on which one you're talking to, because what they have their faith in. If they have their faith in Trump, for instance, they think he's going to fix this. Now, eventually they have their threshold and their breaking point, and this is when they become shadow focused and become SP-like. And so remember, the American Revolution was led by George Washington, who was an ESTJ. Okay, and so yes, there is that threshold and that breaking point where they will, hey, no, enough is enough. My freedom's being impeded too, okay? Because the system failed and the system's no longer operating in right and wrong, okay? And so now the SJs are mad about that. Okay, what about the NTs? NTs are pragmatic and systematic. So we already see the system as it is, as a fucked up mess, and we're no part of it anyways because we're a minority, and it doesn't make any sense to us anyways because the system is very inefficient because it's based on right and wrong and not on what works. That's why NTs don't like it. So I'm having INTJ friends saying, hey, I'm going to join this protest. INTJs are SE users. They can get pretty ragey and very ESFP-like because, remember, they have a long-term goal of where they want to be in 10 years. And right now they're seeing this virus and the pandemic stopping that from happening. Okay, and so now they're really frustrated about this. but as NTPs, for instance, we're very aware of having our freedom impeded, but we're looking for ways to exploit this. And so I'm not in the moment like the SPs. I don't really care about what's going on right now. I'm care about what's going to happen. And so I'm preparing for that happening, within 6 months, and I'm doing what I can. I don't believe this protest is going to do any good. Do I respect their right to do that and their thing? Oh, most definitely. And do I agree with their complaints? Most definitely. But I don't think this does any. You're going down there and flexing your muscles and screaming at people that don't care. That's not the way to work, because most of the politicians are SJs and they don't respect this. SJs respect rule of law. SJ politicians, ESTJs run the country. Okay, ISTJs run the country. These guys are all your lawyers. These guys are your politicians. They're the ones, your doctors. Your Fauci's and those guys. These are all SJ, STJs primarily. And so they're going to want people to follow the system. And so how do you get them to follow? You got to write legislative, your Congress, you got to write these people, and you threaten not to vote for them. You threaten these kind of things, these systems like this. And so you see things opening back up. That's not because these guys are down there with guns. Like, no one gives a shit. Okay. No one cares. It's because people are making threats, legislatively. And, and how do you get change in the environment or with organic food? You vote with your dollars. And so you see the banking system bailing out different things and like that. And then you have outside components such as Bitcoin, for instance, that's breaking that cabal away. And that control is going away. And so you're seeing things, and you're kind of seeing the empire strike back one last time and gather up all the money. And because I think they know their time is near. The end is near, sorry. And that's kind of what's going on. Many people, radio show hosts, been talking about this, about, breaking everything apart. And then when everyone else is broke, you consolidate it with what you have left. And so then you own everything, like the Rothschilds, for instance, at Waterloo. Those kind of things, that's the banker way of what they're doing. NFs, I don't know, my NF friends are kind of like in a confusion right now, because I know they see the world in a very idealistic way, and I don't think they really know what to do. There is the side where hey, I need to follow the affiliative, and there's the other side of my interest is being infringed, but what do I do about this? So it's just going to depend there. But I'm not seeing the anger from the NFs. I'm not seeing the necessarily henpecking that you get from the ISFJ FE parent from the INFJs. The INFJs I've kind of seen through it at this point, and so now they're just kind of figuring out what they can do for their future. The NFPs have been really quiet, and aside from like Alex Jones, who's an ENFP, he's down there, but that's kind of what the people expect out of him, and so he's still trying to, he has the interest of his radio show and pretending like this is going to do something. I don't necessarily agree of necessarily protesting in Austin, Texas. I mean, yeah, we've been quarantined. Yeah, our freedoms have been infringed upon and stomped on, but compared to other states, it hasn't really been that bad. I'm looking forward to things opening back up. I'm very thankful certain countries like Sweden or Belarus that have like a control in the studies, and so now you don't have all people doing the same thing. It's like, oh, see, it worked. No, it didn't work. You didn't get any better results or any less results than Sweden, who did pretty much nothing and allowed quarantine to happen on a voluntary basis. And so then you would have, in that situation, when you have 40% SJs, 30% SPs, 15% NTs, 15% NFs, you would have the SJs quarantine. So you have 40% of the people not getting involved and things like that, and trying to do what's best for the system and staying safe. They're safety focused types. You see people like XJW Analyzer, who completely quarantined and separated himself, even though his best friend Diasis is the complete polar opposite of how they view the world. He chose safety, Diasis chose freedom. And that's why one is screaming and yelling because he doesn't have freedom, and the other one is okay and content for now. Who knows how long that'll last until he's upset as well. And so that's just my thoughts on who's going to be this. The people down there protesting, these are clearly going to be SP men, SP women. We'll see there's a couple SP women in the XJW community who are I think her name was Kelly Mosman. I can't remember her name. She's blonde from Australia. She's always kind of outspoken. She's an ASFP as well. But yeah, my thoughts on that.